toward the end of the year. So we're looking forward to you coming out, making quorum. But hey, we're here. We're going to help our babies. Let's have some meeting norms. Please respect everyone. We're here for the children. No personal agendas. We will answer questions at the end of the report if time allows. Due to time allowed for each section, all questions may not get answered in this forum. Please use the parking lot in the chat or the board. So basically, we do not have the board anymore, so you can place your information in the chat. We do have people who will read for you. Here's the thing, if it becomes overwhelming in the chat and you're trying to make a point or you're talking over someone, we will ask you 3 times to stop, and then we will remove you from this meeting. We will run the agenda as printed. Any questions or comments outside the printed agenda or digital agenda must be submitted by noon of the meeting to wait to hear until public comments. We will use the hand raise sign or raise your hand in order to be recognized. Let's remember, we are here for the students. All right, now we're in the hands of our recording secretary, Melissa Upchurch.
Okay, thank you. We'll get started with Afton Angela Hanks.
Yeah, he's looking for it.
Maria Martinez Bayless.
I'm here.
Hi, Maria. Okay, Christina Blankenship Clayton.
Here.
Hello. Latoya Nelson Ferguson Florissant.
Here.
Hi. Cassandra Brown Ferguson Florissant. Erica Henderson Ferguson Florissant. Denise Bursey Ferguson Florissant.
Here.
Hi, Denise.
Okay, who's going to be the
Hello.
voting delegate for Ferguson Florissant? Denise or Latoya? Hello?
Doesn't matter to me. I can be it.
Okay. Also, Erica Henderson is the secretary to the superintendent, and they Ferguson Florissant, and they are in a school board meeting. So she's
All righty. I'll mark that down. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on, Monique Hines Smith, Hazelwood. Natasha Anderson Wright Jennings. Mary Fitzgerald Kirkwood.
Here.
Hi, Mary. Okay, Ellen Reed Kirkwood.
She's excused for tonight. She had a program at her son's school.
Okay. Brooke Seehey Ledoux. Janelle Blackwood Lindbergh. Bridget Wildschutz Litzinger.
I am here and I apologize. My camera is not working.
That's okay. Hello. Okay. Let's see. Kim Gifford, Maplewood, Richmond Heights.
I'm here.
Okay. Mary Mackler, Maplewood, Richmond Heights. Latricia Clark, Normandy. Fern Scott, Normandy.
Latricia is on.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hi, Latricia. Okay.
Hi.
Good. Shauna Barton, Parkway. Krista Goldman, Parkway. Ashley Jameson, Parkway. Dr. Carter's here. Carrie Ellis, Pattonville. Rob Eaton, Rittner. Rebecca Fleeg, Rockwood.
Here.
Hi, Rebecca. Okay, Denise Francis, Southview. And Shanna Rudolph, Valley Park. Okay.
Thank you so very much. We do have quorum. So we're going to move on with the agenda. Okay. Let me do a new share. Well, let's cancel that. Does everyone see the agenda on my screen? Okay. We need to move to accept the agenda.
Latricia, I removed that we accept the agenda as posted.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Who is our second?
Rebecca Fleet.
Okay, it has been moved in second that the agenda will be voted in as written. Okay, Melissa, can you pull up the minutes, please? Oh, all in favor for the agenda as printed. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Unanimously, it's aye. Okay. Now, Melissa, can you please pull up the minutes from last week? Last month. It wasn't last week. Okay, I need a motion to accept
Muted.
it.
Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I need a motion to accept the minutes as written.
This is Kim. I motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, may I have a second?
Rebecca Fleet will second.
Thank you, Rebecca and Kim. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, sounds like it's unanimous. All right. We get cooking with Crisco today. Y'all move and gone, y'all. Okay. Share. Okay, we do have two new members who are two new people who self-nominated, who wanted to become members of the SSD PAC. They are Kiara Swift, which has she joined for Normandy. And we do have Holly Tinker on for Rockwood. Okay, since Kiara Swift is not here, we cannot vote her in. Holly, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I have two kids in Rockwood. One is a sophomore and one is a seventh grader. They're at Eureka High School in LaSalle. My youngest, the seventh grader, has an IEP. I've had a relationship with the SSD since she was in first grade. Of course, challenges change from elementary to middle and then every year in between. And I wanted to get more involved in the big picture in SSD, as well as volunteering in the schools, just to make sure, everybody feels heard and, they have somebody to speak to and I can understand everything on a bigger picture.
Awesome. May I have a motion to vote in Holly Tinker for member Rockwood?
Rebecca Fleet, I will make a motion to vote Holly Tinker in for Rockwood.
May I have a second?
This is Maria Martinez. I second.
Okay, thank you, Maria and Rebecca for motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Welcome to the team.
Thank
Holly.
you, guys.
Woo.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. See, that was painless.
Yeah.
Now we're at the superintendent's report. I'm going to go through the next couple of slides before Dr. Keenan speaks. After the superintendent report, we'll have Chief Wendy Pendergrass. We'll have the legislative updates. We'll have the SSD presentation. We'll have FACE, and then we'll go to PAC business. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing at this point and allow Chief Pendergrass to share. And Dr. Keenan, you are up.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to see everybody. I think everybody's pretty rested after our break. I know it seems like it was a week ago, but I think everybody had a well-deserved break and it was enjoyable for everybody. And it was really nice to hear as staff were coming back that they were ready to come back and they were rejuvenated. So we're excited about that. We have a lot coming up. Chief Pendergrass will update you and FACE will update you on other things that we're going to be working on this in January and through February. But right now we are in our discussions with all of our superintendents and our partner districts, meeting with them on our budget goals for next year. And we'll be presenting to our board in February our final recommendation for our preliminary budget. This is important for us because we want to make sure that we are hiring our staff for next year. We always think about it like 6 months ahead. So even though we're in January, we have to be planning what's going to be happening in June and getting ready for the summer. So we'll be talking about hiring, and then we'll also be talking about our professional development and onboarding process. So we are very excited about all these discussions with our board, with our superintendents, and with the board. Our commitment is really to make sure that we are supporting all of our 22 districts and our SSD schools in meeting the needs for the students in each one, the individual needs, but the collective needs across the county. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Pendergrass as she's talking and telling her son probably to do something, right?
That's it.
Yep.
All right. So thank you. Welcome. Now I'm trying to advance. Let's do that. So what I have, we have a couple of presentations tonight. One will be the SSD. What I want to provide for you is our schools and ESY have their dates set. I will show you some of those dates a little bit later and summer programs. What we will also be doing in this, moving forward is having our dates on our website. So if you're not able to remember what these dates are, I will be able to send them to Dr. Carter, but then also working with the wonderful Jen Henry in communications, she is going to create a link as well that shows you the different dates for extended school year. I hope you notice this year, we are going to communicate the summer programs and ESY. So the summer program in the schools is June 29th or June 5th through June 29th, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 12:30. And then our summer program will run after that, 12:30 to 2:30. This is a lot of information that we will send out to you, but notice that some of our districts are still in the process of solidifying their extended school years or their buildings, so that information is not available. We will update this information as soon as we get it and it comes in. So there is both ESY, if you notice, is on the top, and then summer programs are on the bottom.
Say, Wendy, can I chime in here for a second?
Absolutely.
So traditionally, about 3 years ago, I would say probably 2019, 2020, is when we were doing only ESY. And when I first came here, Parkway had approached us about how do we support students with special needs in our summer programs, because they were being excluded because they didn't have additional supports. And so after COVID, once we started to reopen, our board really wanted to commit to making sure that we were supporting that, the time when students were virtual and extend the in-person time beyond ESY. So ESY is important. Not all kids who qualify for it. When they do, we support those needs. It's IEP driven. With the summer programming, that is more universals. That's more of things for exposure, for getting students acclimated, supporting. It's a little bit more fun, and they incorporate those pieces into it. Now, our commitment after the first year, after we reopened from COVID from 2021, we decided that our commitment is to continue to support summer programming across the county, and that's what this is. So we are typically haven't done it, and Wendy does a great job with the team to be able to understand, who's attending, how, what needs are there, and the other thing is we already have opened up our application process for our teachers to apply for these positions and our paraprofessionals. Our chief people and culture officer, Mr. Boyd, he was the one that proposed to the board to open up a blanket application process so we can be better prepared to support these programs. We know we're going to hire ESY teachers, and we know we're going to hire summer program teachers and paraprofessionals. So we were able to open those up earlier. So that's all I had to add.
Thank you, Dr. Keenan. We are now over 800 applicants for ESY and summer programming. If you have questions, if your child qualifies for extended school year, of course, we ask you to reach out to your child's coordinator, your child's school principal, the director, of course, Dr. Yates and Chiquita McRiddle in the partner districts, or Dr. Grigsby, who's also on it this call tonight, and myself as well. One more thing. So the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which in the educational world, we call them DESE, is sending out a survey for all families that children receive special education services in the state of Missouri. We have until March 31st for our families in the state to fill out this survey. Thus, what I was saying earlier, what we will be doing is I will show you how to access it tonight, but then we will also have a link on our website. Our directors are going to place it in their monthly letter, and our building principals will be sending out the link as well. But let me show you this because it can be a little tricky. You can do it online, or you can also print it and send it in. What is happening to my computer? Hold on one second. Hold, please. So that link that I will send you takes you to this website. It is also, the survey is in a variety of languages, which is very nice. But I want to show you as I scroll down, it is every district in the state of Missouri that would be represented. So if your child is attending a partner district, you would find the partner district and click. If your child is attending one of our schools or VSP, please, of course, find special school district. Notice that the district code is by the side. So if you let me find special school district really quickly. So if you notice special school district is right here, our district code is 096119. So I, because I'm sometimes fluent in English, would click on the form. It will take me to the form. Then it will provide me with directions if I want to print it or if I want to go online. At this point, notice
Wendy,
that
we are not seeing your screen.
oh, what's happening? That's great. Thank you, Molly. This is why I stay at home, or I stay at work. Please hold. Thank you. It shows that it's good times.
Do you need hosting privileges?
No, I'm trying to make sure.
Yeah, it was showing up until the point you went to the other website.
Huh. Can you see it now?
Mm-mm.
You're not sharing.
Okay.
No.
Thank you for the technical difficulties. I much appreciate it.
Oh,
Wendy,
We
try
see some
sharing your
dogs.
whole screen and not just like the program.
Okay, thank you. Can you see it now?
no, ma'am.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay. Then something is happening when I go off screen.
Try a new screen, try a new share.
You see my dogs? Have we got the dog?
Are you going to the website for Desi?
Yes.
They might have a block up so you can't share it.
Okay. Then that would make sense. So I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation. So please hold.
No problem. We might have to have a mini session so you can show us how to do it.
And I will be more than happy to do that. Okay, now are we back on?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I will be more than happy to have a mini session. That link, because it keeps knocking us off and I don't want to take any more time, will take you to the screen that actually explains what the survey is about. Desi is partnering with Mizzou to ask our families in Missouri how they are receiving special education services. There is a district code and a code that they provide for you on that form. So if you're having any trouble with any of that, please reach out to me directly. I will help you on that. We have until March 31st to get it. And again, we will be sending it out in multiple forums. On our director letters, we will be sending out the link. On our website, we will have a link. And then our building principals will also be sending out the link. And I apologize that I could not take you through the process. Now I would like to turn it over to Casey Wisdom, who is our Director of Vocational Skills and Transition Services.
Thanks, Wendy. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes, okay, great. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you all and just provide some information around the transition department and the services that we provide. Thanks, Wendy. So the mission of the transition department is to collaborate to provide services, supports, and resources for best practices to stakeholders and customers to enable students to prepare for successful post-secondary outcomes. As you can see here, our supports are divided up into 3 zones. And so we support all of the partner school districts and SSD buildings and programs. In each of those zones, we have 1 transition effective practice specialist, and I'll go into a little bit of the roles in just a few minutes. We have a transition facilitator in each of those zones that is identified to support the partner districts, and then a transition facilitator in each zone who supports the SSD buildings and purchase of service sites. So effective practice specialists really do just that. Their primary role is to ensure that they're staying on top of research-based best practices, providing those resources and tools to our staff across St. Louis County. They design and deliver professional development related to transition. Wendy, can you advance? Thank you. And really they do that through elementary through high school. So we are increasingly spending time at elementary and middle school level, which we're really excited about. And of course, continue to provide that support to high school level as well. They do a lot of coordination and planning with the directors and special ed coordinators and building principals to identify and implement transition priorities related to CSIP and also to that local area improvement plan that exists in that district or building. They provide oversight to our community-based vocational instruction programming that happens out in each of our high schools across St. Louis County. So they're working again with those special education administrators to ensure that we've got a continuum of opportunities in the high schools and really supporting partnerships that are a little bit more complex. So we've made it a goal over the last 5 years or so that if we've got really great business partnerships that we're sharing some of those opportunities across schools and across districts. And so they provide some of that support to make sure that collaboration is going well. They work with the work experience coordinators that exist in every St. Louis County high school. That is a special education teacher, and their primary role with that work experience coordinator piece is to make sure that we're coordinating with vocational rehabilitation for those students who are seniors and about to graduate, that we're connecting them with voc rehab. They also support cooperative work experience. So for some students who may have paid employment and be able to earn some credit for that paid employment, they're providing support through that program as well. EPSs will often serve on district committees that require transition representation. We work closely with the FACE department to make sure that whatever we are offering to families around the area of transition is in alignment. They will support IEPs. It's not their primary role, but when we may have situations that are a little bit more challenging or complex, need a different level of expertise, they will come in and provide some supports in those situations. They also serve as the connector between agencies and the high schools to make sure that our high school staff are aware of agencies and what supports are provided by those agencies. Next slide. Thank you. Our transition facilitators are really those boots on the ground out in the high schools every day. They spend a lot of time in IEPs supporting that general transition planning, supporting conversations around those decisions about if a student needs to stay with us beyond 4 years, to continue to work on skill sets towards transition. They also support those IEPs in which decisions are being made about participation in the vocational skills program. They are doing a lot of support of our work around charting the life course in the high schools. And as I said, that work is really moving down into middle and elementary. They work closely with me when we are developing new business partnerships and developing sites for both community-based vocational instruction and the vocational skills program. They provide a lot of one-on-one consultation and support to teachers. They visit all of the CBVI support sites across St. Louis County and provide supports related to best practices in those sites. And they also provide coaching around any professional development that we have offered. So they're working a lot directly with teachers, students, and families. Our department is really focused on our CSIP 1.1 initiative around obviously preparing students with skills and planning needed for positive post-school or program outcomes. Our initiative that we've been spending a lot of time on in the last few years is around self-determined long-range planning using the Charting the Life Course framework. And I know many of you have probably seen that through your work with the FACE department. And so we're continuing to focus a lot of our efforts on that initiative. So we, as both a department and as a CSIP team that's working towards our CSIP 1.1 goal, we really spent a lot of time in the district strategic and responsive solutions process to make sure that we're designing a long-range planning process for students that will be meaningful. And so through that process, we've developed some guiding principles that guide the work that we do every day. So we want to ensure the work we're doing is recognizing the student in the context of their family and their community and their culture, so that we're really understanding that individual student's world and what they need and what they want for their life. That we're recognizing that families are integral partners in long-range planning. Families are the lifelong support long after we are out of the picture. And so really honoring families as that integral partner. We're looking at long-range planning earlier. And I talked about a little bit about that shift to elementary, starting some of our work there. That long-range planning needs to happen early and build upon itself and focus across the educational life cycle for a student. We're trying to ensure that solutions we develop through this process are replicable and scalable and sustainable moving forward, so that we can maintain this good work regardless of staff changes. We are trying to ensure that we're incorporating person-centered backwards design. So beginning with that end in mind and ensuring that students have a voice in defining their own journey, their own future, and their own goals. And the other important piece is that we're integrating and embedding within existing organizational practices. So as we now are engaging in things like new teacher orientation, our new teacher academies, our special education process training that is online Moodle training, our work around self-determination and charting the life course is being embedded into all of those avenues for our staff. I think back a few, Wendy. There, one more, forward one. Thank you. I know there's probably some familiarity with charting the life course among this group, and it really is all about helping our students and their families really develop what a vision is for the good life, what they want out of life when they're done with school. And so that involves determining how to find or develop supports that are needed, to discover what it takes to have the life that you want, to determine the skills and knowledge needed, and to create those steps to start moving towards that good life. And so thinking about how we incorporate this entire process into our long-range planning through our IEP process, which is that natural place where we do all of that planning, and really, again, incorporating that thinking about long-range planning. We say in my department that every IEP is a short-term plan to reach a long-term goal. And so ensuring that we are moving in that direction with all of our staff across the county, that we're really starting to think about that long-range planning at every IEP. These are the 3 tools, and I know I presented them to you before, and I know that probably you have seen them through the FACE department. These are the 3 tools that we are working with staff. So we have the one-page profile, which really is looking at that student from a strengths-based approach. So what are their strengths? What's important to that student? What people like about that student, and what that student feels like is the best support for them in moving them towards their good life. That middle visual is the trajectory, where we're really working with the student, their family, and teams to develop what their vision for a good life. We also talk about what we don't want in life, because that's important too. And then that arrow really signifies for us, what are those things that need to happen, or perhaps don't need to happen, along that student's lifespan within the educational system that will help move them towards their good life. And then finally, our STAR tool, which really helps us problem solve. What are those supports that we need to access and we need to consider as we are working with students and families? So relationships, personal strengths, technology, eligibility supports, and things in the community that we might not typically think of, but could be wonderful supports for students in achieving their vision for a good life. Our impact predictions, so what we think will happen as a result of our work over time, is that we will see students with stronger self-determination skills, because we know if we engage them in their planning process, that we also have to engage them in building their self-determination skills to be able to make decisions and set goals and monitor those goals and engage in problem solving for themselves. We think that students will have a more active role in planning for their future, and therefore more buy-in in what they're participating in that will be leading them towards their future. That we'll see an improvement in our post-school outcomes, and we'll see students with greater levels of independence and autonomy in adult life. So some measures that we'll be looking at, of course, our long-term or summative measure really is looking at those post-school outcomes. So what are our students achieving once they leave us? But we're also recommending some predictors of post-school success to be monitored by the district. And these come to us from the National Technical Assistance Center on Transition. And that really is the hub of all research in the area of transition. And so they have identified some research and evidence-based predictors that should be an indication of students achieving positive post-school outcomes. And so that includes the inclusion, the amount of time students are included in general education, self-determination and self-advocacy skills, as well as participation in career and technical education. So we just presented these predictors to DLT, and we'll be starting to do some work with them in the district. We also, as part of our CSIP 1.1 work, both with that team and in the transition department, really wanted to take a look at how we as SSD view positive post-school outcomes. What does that mean for us? We know that DESE gives us what that's supposed to mean. We know that the Office of Special Education federally gives us what that's supposed to mean. But we really wanted to take a look at what post-school outcomes might be missing that are valued outcomes for our students and for our families. And so we have developed some outcomes that we are looking at for consideration for measuring for ourselves. So we'll always have to report DESE's outcomes and OSEP, but really, how are we measuring post-school success as a district? And Wendy referenced having a separate document available to you. I'm going to come back to this at the end of my presentation because we would like to gain some feedback from families about these post-school outcomes. So also within the transition department is the vocational skills program. And the mission of the vocational skills program is to provide a continuum of supports and services to students and families to assist students in gaining the skills they need to achieve realistic and meaningful post-secondary goals. So this program is for students who are 18 to 21. Participation in VSP will result in one or more of the following outcomes. So an increase in overall independence in employability skills, interpersonal and social skills, and daily living skills. Students will leave with referral and potentially eligibility for adult services from vocational rehabilitation, the Department of Mental Health, the Division of Developmental Disabilities, and independent living centers across St. Louis County. Some students will leave us with integrated competitive employment. Others may be moving into community integration to continue building those skills towards employment. And some students will participate in transition post-secondary programs for individuals with developmental disabilities. And those are programs like UMSL's Succeed program or Missouri State University's Bear Power program. Participation in VSP is an IEP team decision. And so the first decision that needs to be made is if the student continues to need services beyond 4 years of high school. And if that decision is made and those goals really relate primarily to employment, then VSP may be an appropriate place for students to receive those services. Those IEP teams are supported by a transition facilitator, sometimes an EPS, to ensure that the team, the student, and the family know what the options are and have a good understanding of the decision that's being made when considering VSP. Students will have completed their 4 years of high school prior to coming into the program. There is an agreement between the partner district or SSD school and the vocational skills program to hold issuance of the diploma until the completion of VSP. And then graduation really is based on readiness to move towards their post-secondary goal. So we may have a student come in and is with us for 6 months, some for a year, some for 2 years. So it really is individualized, and graduation is determined on an individual basis. We offer a continuum of services in VSP. So we really take a look at the information coming from the high schools to determine what level of programming a student might need. So we offer opportunities that are more pre-vocational skill development in nature. So we're really working on those skills needed to be integrated into the community to begin those very first steps in some pre-employment or pre-vocational activities. We're looking at things like self-regulation, communication. We're looking at stamina to be out in the community. Our goal is always to move students across our continuum, but it's perfectly appropriate and acceptable if students graduate out of any part of our programming, because then our goal is to connect them with what that next service is that they need to continue moving them forward. Vocational preparation and work readiness, there we're starting to increase our focus on those work skills a little bit more in terms of employability skills, but then also really starting to focus on, are we working at an industry pace? How is our accuracy? Are we able to increase our stamina to be able to go to work? Are we able to demonstrate all of those good soft skills that are needed to be in the workplace? And then we also have a few sites that do provide industry-based job training, and that's where students are training. It's a one-year program. Students are training in a specific job, and then will be supported by our partnering agency in finding a job in that area in which they trained. We currently have 33 business sites, 2 supervising special education coordinators, 35 teachers, 4 para-educators. We also call them job coaches because they spend a lot of time on site coaching with students, 6 related service providers. So we have 2 social workers, 2 SLPs, and 2 nurses that provide support across the county. And on average, we serve about 200 students annually. We have partnerships across a variety of industry areas. So you can see healthcare, transportation, logistics, and manufacturing, education, hospitality. We have some corporate settings, and we have a great partnership with the St. Louis County Government Center. Obviously, we have a lot you can see in healthcare and education. Those are very mission-driven industries, and they align nicely with our mission. We are working hard to expand in some other industry areas who may not have as much experience working with individuals with disabilities. And so oftentimes we are their first experience. And so we're working always to expand the opportunities that we have. Once students are in VSP, they will receive job skills training in an integrated competitive work environment. They're direct instruction, so they do have some classroom time, and that really is depending on where their skill sets are and what their IEP goals, how much time that is, but they receive that direct instruction in job skills, interpersonal, social skills, and daily living right there in that community business. So there's no more going to the high school for any instruction. That business is their permanent place where they go every day, all day long. Our goal is to increase independence and employability skills and self-determination. And then again, we are referring students then to those various eligibility agencies once they are approaching the graduation from VSP. Okay. That's all I have there. Wendy, I do want to revisit that one slide, but I will also take questions whenever that's appropriate as well.
You can, questions are open.
If there are no questions, Casey, let's go on and have our FACE department show, and then I will stop sharing and then go back to that form and then have them review it and see if there's any updates. How does that sound?
Perfect.
I have a question. Hello?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I have a sophomore, and this is all that's been on my mind. And just thinking in terms of the IEP team, it doesn't seem like, I guess my big question is how do you all evaluate for what skills are missing? Like the SLP and the OT and academic, I mean, is there some kind of assessment that's done, or skills, looking at skills now? Because, you know, I got a 16-year-old, and I was told that they don't do 3-year reevals, so that's not going to happen. I don't know what the next steps are in terms of asking for the team to do checklists, assessments, something.
So Mary, there should
transition.
be, as part of the transition planning process, particularly when we start that planning process in the year that the student turns 16. And during that, prior to that IEP, there should be some transition assessments completed to really do just what you are talking about, which is really sort of assessing where those skill sets are, assessing interest areas. And so that can be formal or informal assessments. It also can consist of gathering assessments that have been done through the partner school district. So let's say a guidance counselor's done Missouri Connections, or there's been some sort of interest assessment done with all students. You may be looking at some other standardized testing that has already occurred. But there should be some transition assessment that occurs in that year that the student is turning 16 and you're initiating a transition plan.
Is there any place I can see that list for myself? Because my son's a virtual student, he's not in person, so it feels like a lot of things that normally happen in a school aren't happening, and it's up to me to say, hey, wait a minute. He's not going to homeroom. So do you guys have anything for parents? Like, oh, here's this is the checklist that we start with, and this is because what you've described, all these programs, I'm just taking pictures, I'm all excited, but I don't know where I could go look to see it for myself, to know what questions to ask.
So I would recommend visiting, if you haven't, our SSD website, the transition section of our SSD website. And that would be a good starting place for you to look. And then Mary, you can always reach out to me and I can connect you also with the transition facilitator and or EPS that could provide some support to your team specifically to really determine what some next steps are.
Thanks.
Sure.
I have a quick question if possible.
Yes, Rebecca, you can be recognized.
Thank you. These are great goals. I love the self-determination and the charting the life course for all this. And I'm wondering on the other side in the schools about, you're talking about going into elementary and middle schools to help with the self-determination and the person-centered planning. What about, as far as SSD in the schools and teachers, what about like I goals and the IEPs and self-led IEP meetings? I'm curious about that part of it. Is that being worked on as well? Is that moving down? Because I feel like you have that successful, like if you start that at 16 or 17, you're kind of behind the game. So I'm curious.
Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. And part of why we're doing this work. So we are encouraging and starting to see students as young as elementary leading parts of their IEP or coming in with their trajectory and at least being able to show a picture, if not, at least a picture of what their vision for a good life is, or talking through some pieces of those things for themselves. And so part of our work with teachers is also having them look at how can you bring that student's voice in, not just through the visual representation of the tools, but also having students come in to whatever degree appropriate for that particular student and be a part of that IEP.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic to hear. My second question is, I'm still learning, so forgive me, but it's my understanding that so when does the vocational rehab start? And when it does, it was my understanding that there's situations in where the ISP and the IEP kind of conflict. Is this program meant to help those?
Well, yeah, so an ISP, there's so many acronyms that it is hard to navigate sometimes. Obviously, you all know what an IEP is. An ISP is through DMH regional office.
Right.
Okay. And then Voc Rehab will develop what they call an IPE, and that's a plan for employment. So there really can be multiple plans for an individual, which makes it all the more confusing. Could an ISP and an IEP not align? That's possible. But what I will say is that part of our reasoning for adopting the Charting the Life course tools is that is the framework that the Department of Mental Health and regional office is using for their ISPs. So you should see in those ISPs that they are also talking about a vision for a good life and what is needed to get to that good life and support that good life. So we're hoping over time is that we bring our language into alignment, and then we start seeing plans that are more aligned to support students and families.
Okay, thank you. The last tiny piece of this.
Well, Rebecca, we have to let somebody else have the floor. Kim, you had a
Hi.
question?
I do, and I just have a quick question. So when it comes to the effective practice specialists, are they somebody that the school contacts or the parents contact? What is the way to connect our students with the effective practice specialists is my question.
Right. Primarily, it usually happens through the school, but it can happen through a parent as well. Our contact information is on the website. But typically it is through that parent communication to a case manager to say, I think we need a little bit more support here in transition. And then we would maybe first start with the transition facilitator and or the EPS, depending on that level of need of support.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, wonderful questions. Miss Latrice Morgan.
Good evening. How are you, Dr. Pendergrass? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Good
Hold on
evening,
before
everyone.
you start. Hold on before you start. If you have any more questions, please let Ms. Wisdom know. Put your questions in the chat so that we can get answered. I apologize, Latricia, for jumping in right there, but those were great questions. I agree with Wendy. I thought I was talking, but I kept being placed on mute. So with that being said, thank you for your questions. Thank you, Dr. Wisdom, for coming out and sharing with us yet again this year. And now we're in the hands of Faith.
Hey, good evening and happy New Year's to each and every one of you. What we have to share out is very quick. Want to remind you guys that the Lunch and Learn will be held on January the 25th. And it will be featuring the Productive Living Board, or PLB. And just for those who have never heard about the Lunch and Learns, these are half-hour learning opportunities that are free of charge. You can access them online. And each month we have different agencies and or specialists within a special school district who will share information about who they are and what they do. And it's a real nice, intimate opportunity to get some more information about how they go about doing their business. And then we will be hosting our Family Leadership Institute for Spring 2023. You see the dates are listed here as April 19th, 26th, and May the 3rd. Something new and exciting that we're really, I won't say it's new, but some tweaking that we're doing to make sure that we're being more inclusive is that we will have interpreters that are available. So we are, for the applications that are going to be available to all, there will be something listed on there so that we can look at more accommodations, and you will note that interpreters is one of those options to pick. So we want to make sure that people are from all backgrounds and all abilities have the opportunity to participate. And last but not least, the Family Resource Hub at North Technical High School will host the community agency, CASTLE. And they will be there from 9 to 4 on this Friday. And so what people are able to do is to actually come to the hub and ask questions of that particular agency that will be there. and the like. So if you know of someone who is in need of non-perishable foods as well as school supplies, you may also drop by on this Friday to pick those items up. Next slide. I believe that's it for our program. Yeah, so that's all we have for this particular report out. Adrian, did I miss anything?
Everything's great.
Okay. So thank you for allowing us to share out.
That's all, Chief Pendergrass. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I love being on mute. Isn't that great? What I'd like to do is show the document that Casey was referring to earlier, and
Yes,
if we should have feedback. So what I'll do is provide that document for you, Dr. Carter, so you can place it on your website, provide feedback, get that feedback to us by the end of the month. You can send it directly to myself or Director Casey Wisdom. It would be fine. So hold on one second and let me pull that up, please.
Yes, ma'am. And while she's doing this, those of you who have direct contact with your PAC, make sure when we are getting this information that you send that information out to your PAC members, especially the survey, because we want to talk about the good things and what you have experienced with SSD.
And here is the document, my dear. Casey, can you see it? Okay.
Yes. So this is where I referenced before that as a district, we're looking at defining what we determine or what we think positive post-school outcomes are for our students. And so this is where we'd really like some family perspective. We'd like for some folks to take a look at it and tell us what there might be questions about, what you think is missing from consideration for a positive post-school outcome.
Could you explain what the no limits is?
Yeah, so when we report our outcomes up federally to the Office of Special Education, they have some requirements, for example, for employment to be considered a positive outcome. The student has to be employed for 20 hours a week for at least 90 days. The reality is, right out of school, when some of our students go into employment, that's not something that they may choose to work 20 hours a week, or maybe have the ability at that point to work 20 hours a week. And so we really want to, obviously, again, we're going to have to measure and consider that, but we want to look at employment and some of those other areas in what's right for that student and graduate, as opposed to what OSEP or DESE may tell us, if that makes sense.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I have a hand, Rebecca.
So just to understand this correctly, so you're not looking for feedback on, like, say, if people don't agree with sheltered workshops as being a favorable outcome. You're just looking, I'll share this on the website I have for our district, but I'm curious what exactly you're looking for.
So that may be a point that some people bring up, and that is included because right now we do measure non-competitive employment, and it can be viewed as a positive outcome right now in our state. So it is included. And we know that some families choose sheltered workshop and probably would like to see that viewed as a positive outcome. And we know we'll have some families who may not. So we're really looking for, if someone provides feedback around that, great, we certainly will take it and consider it. But we also really want to know, is there anything from a family perspective that might be missing? Is there something for your child that you think might be an outcome that's not, that you would consider a positive outcome that we've missed in our consideration of positive post-school outcomes?
Thank you.
Sure.
So you're looking for more more ways of engaging the community, our children engaging the community more than our opinion about what we like and don't like.
Correct. You got
Okay.
it.
Yes, ma'am. Crystal, any other questions centered around that? Would that conclude your presentation?
Yes, ma'am, Dr.
Yeah.
Carter. Thank you very much.
Oh, no problem. Next, we have PAC business. I'm gonna start. Rob is not here. Melissa, do you have any report?
No.
Okay. Denise, do you have a report? Anything to report? Denise probably have to deal with something. Okay, so Latricia is the parliamentarian. So I have a couple of things to report. First thing is not that. Y'all see me in here, right? So if the people come knocking on the door, y'all see me not hurting my kid. He's out having a good time swinging from the roof in the thing. Okay, I need to find it. Is it in this one? Well, I'll tell you what. Melissa, can you pull up the oh, I can't think what it is. The bylaws for me, please. All right, so one announcement that we have, the RIDE is looking for children who are ages 9 to 20 who have developmental issues or does have an IEP. They're getting ready to do their curtain call registration. I will include this in the update once we get this done. Registration space is limited, but they are still looking for people. This is their first theater presentation since this summer. So they're looking for, is musical theater. So they're looking for kids who would like to participate. They do not have to have any experience, but if they're willing to participate, you can register them now. Also, Tim EB is sending out information about a scholarship that is due in 2 weeks. For those of you who have high school seniors, who particularly are going to college in town or around, it's the John Kerry Scholarship. It's for graduating students who receive services from special school district. Also, they have to be attending a 4-year university. They are looking for characteristics that were admired by John Kerry, which is resiliency, courage, and determination. The scholarship is for, I saw it, Missouri State, UMSL, the University of Oklahoma, Valparaiso University, and Webster. And the scholarship is $5,000 each year. So this, if you don't get it this year, you can reapply. Or if you get it this year, you can get it next year. So, so every year. And they have several, the word says several, so there's more than one, $5,000 scholarships. As I serve on scholarship committees for different organizations, it's not that we don't have enough money, it's that we don't have anybody to apply. So, even if you don't think your child can get the money, send in the application, okay? So, Melissa, did you bring up the
I put a link in the chat, but I can open it.
Okay, let me see. It's not coming up for me.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh, there it is. Is that me or is that you? Oh, I hit it 5 times, that's why. Stuff up. Okay, so it's that time of year in January. So in March, we will begin renewing our membership. It's the odd year people to have the membership. So The number of members turn, was it 3? It was section 3. Nope. I hit it up and I don't even know what. Membership nomination, membership elections. Nope. No, so let me find it. Basically, we have to renew rotation of elections. I found it. So the following school districts will have to hold elections. So that means you have to renew. We have to vote you back in. And this is the odd number year. So the following districts who have to renew or be reelected are Hazelwood, Jennings, Kirkwood, Lindbergh, Maplewood, Richmond Heights, Parkway, Pattonville, Ridner, Riverview, Gardens, Webster Groves, and the 5 SSD schools, Ackerman, Litzinger, New Owner, Northview, and Southview. So if this is one of your school districts, you will have to do the self-nominating form, which we will send out again. We will send out the self-nominating form for you so you can renew it, and then we'll re-elect in March.
I'm here. Did you say my name?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I said, is it we re-elect in March or in May?
We need to do it. I don't think we had we don't have a meeting in March. Do we have a meeting
Yes,
scheduled in March?
so it is May.
No. April. You need to do it in April. That way, if members want to run for the executive committee, we need to have our executive committee elections no later than May.
Right.
So that, so they need to be in before they can, they need to be renewed before they can run for the executive committee.
Exactly.
So we do it in April.
So we will re-elect in April. Please keep in mind, this is my last year. I know I have 3 years to serve, but this will be my last year as president. So if you would like to be president of the SSD PAC, I say nominate yourself and go forth. Any other questions? Hearing none. Next, is it next? No. Yeah, next month I will have both of my collegiate classes here along with another professor. So we'll have classes here. So we probably have a lot of extra visitors. And that will be it for the PAC business report. We do not have any public comments at this time. So without any further ado, we can adjourn the meeting.
And I put the plus delta in the chat, so please answer that when you have a minute.
And I totally messed up before we get a motion on the floor for adjourning the meeting. Any of the local PACs would like to tell what they are doing in their PACs?
I just want to make sure that, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure that everybody received the email regarding the videos that the Clayton PAC Ed had purchased the rights to. We've got them posted to our website, so you can watch documentary films such as Intelligent Lives, as well as a host of others. We're going to be releasing another one in the next month. And we had a really nice presentation to the school board in December for Inclusive Schools Week. And we highlighted and had the presentation from our Kiddos in the Best Buddies program at the high school. And then we launched our contest for our Inclusion Awards, as well as our Visual Arts contest. And there will be another presentation to the board, Clayton School Board, in March, and the presentation and awards ceremony and reception will be prior to the board, that same night, but prior to the board meeting. But all of that is posted on our website. So if you want to see what we're doing in the way of how we structured the contest and the information regarding Inclusive Schools Week and inclusive best practices, you can find it there. And since Casey Wisdom, thank you so much for being here. I want to give a big shout out to the FACE department, the transition department. They worked with the Clayton School District and Clayton PAC Ed again this year, and came out and did Charting the Life course with several families that hadn't heard of Charting the Life course before, helping us to try and reach not only our high school kiddos, but our middle school and our elementary families as well. Because, the more you prepare, the better off for everybody, and it doesn't seem as overwhelming. So big shout out to them, and just know as PACs that, reach out to Deb Fiasco, reach out to Latrice, reach out to Emily, Adrian, they'll hook you up and they will help you out. That's what they're there for, and they're more than happy to do it. Thank you. I'm done.
On behalf of FACE, we say thank you.
It's always a pleasure to know what the Clayton PAC Ed is doing. Anyone else would like to talk about their local PACs? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? On mute.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I would have read your lips. I knew that's what you said, but you got to put it on record, girl. This the day and age. Documentation be conversation every day of the week. So you got to have it on record. So hearing that it's been moved in second, all in favor to adjourn the meeting at 8:14, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, it's none opposed. So, and I was gonna let y'all oppose. So y'all have a good night.
Okay.
We'll see you next week. We'll get with Chief Pendergrass and get our surveys filled out. And y'all go love up on your children because they're growing up and going to Valentine's Day dances in the 4th grade. So, so y'all have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye.